Welcome to Messages from the Universe with Laurie Wondra. Laurie is an internationally renowned psychic medium, author, and shamanic practitioner, sharing insights from angels, guides, wisdom keepers, and teachers of the universe that help you navigate life's mysteries and transformations.
Hello, I am Laurie Wondra, and thank you for listening. What's up with the energies of July? Well, let's walk through the major planetary influences first, and then we'll look at the impact for each sign. July begins with the nurturing energy of the sun in Cancer, and that reminds us to come home to ourselves. The archetype of Cancer is I feel, and we'll be feeling the energy in all areas of our life. As the month unfolds, we'll experience a powerful full moon in Capricorn on July 10th, shining a spotlight on our ambitions and long-term structures. Now, Capricorn urges us to use what we have, such as our resources, our skills, our knowledge. And then on July 22nd, the sun moves into fiery Leo. We move into Leo season, and that ignites our passion and creativity. We'll also experience the Neptune retrograde, and that's from July 4th all the way to December 10th. It's in Aries now, and it will move back into Pisces at the end of October, while it remains retrograde. The impact of Neptune's retrograde may prompt introspection and reevaluation of dreams and plans. It's a time to reflect on personal aspirations and consider if they align with your current actions. Now, that full moon in Capricorn on July 10th brings a focus on career goals and responsibilities, and that's a time for completion and celebration of achievements as well as planning for future endeavors. There's going to be some endings for people that they might not have planned for. Saturn retrograde in Pisces, and that starts July 13th until November 28th, and that's a call to realign boundaries and spiritual discipline. This retrograde encourages a slowdown in momentum, prompting individuals to reassess commitments and responsibilities. It's an ideal time for reorganizing personal and professional spaces. Now, Mercury retrograde in Leo begins July 18th and runs all the way to August 11th, and this is about rewiring our self-expression and our creative communication. As Mercury goes retrograde, communication may become more challenging. We tend to gloss over the details, interpret messages differently, not pay as deep of attention to the details as we need to. This is a time to double check information. Listen, and I mean truly listen, and make sure you understand the details. Some say avoid making major decisions during this period, but if you must, just make sure you have all the details correct to avoid any surprises later. Now, Chiron retrograde in Aries is from July 30th to December 15th. Chiron has been sitting in Aries for quite a while, and this is a deep healing of old identities and personal wounds. I call this as a rebirth of who we are, or upscaling the version of who you are. This retrograde period opens up a 5-month window for you to do deeper inner work. Significant in the year of endings. 2025 is that year of 9. It's the year of the snake, so we're all shedding those things that just don't make sense for us anymore. Our wounds are not just those things we overcome or heal, but also any wounds we learn to live with and we continue to navigate life. Now, Venus in Gemini is July 4th to July 30th, and this transit encourages delightful conversations, flirty behavior, making it an excellent time for socializing and deepening relationships. It's a period to enhance communication skills and explore new interests. Venus then enters Cancer on July 31st, and that softens the love and the emotional depth and the comfort that we might experience. Now, July 2025 is marked by significant astrological events, including the retrogrades and the full moon that I mentioned, and that influences relationships, career, and of course, our personal growth. Now, let's dive into each sign and see how these cosmic waves may shape your month. You may want to listen to your sun sign and your rising sign, and some people like to also listen to their moon sign. Now, Aries, with the sun in Cancer and then later moving to Leo, July asks you to tend to your home and your heart and do some emotional grounding. The first half of the month is about that grounding, perhaps healing family patterns or organizing your home space. By the time Leo season arrives, you're back in your element, ready to shine in love, joy, creativity, and follow your passion. The full moon on the 10th highlights your career. Clarity on goals, a career milestone might be hit, or a shift in ambition, and perhaps a major decision or a recognition in a success or an accomplishment. Mercury retrograde in Leo, that's the July 18th to August 11th. Communication mishaps might derail your career plans, so double check emails, any presentations you might be doing, and any places that you might be public speaking. This might be a time to refine your message to the world. And that Chiron retrograde, well, that's in your sign, so go gently with yourself. Old wounds around identity or leadership might just rise to the surface. They are resurfacing to be healed. Now, Saturn retrograde, July 13th, this time is to review long-haul commitments, especially career projects. Perhaps restructure what has felt burdensome. And Venus entering Cancer on July 31st, well, your relationships deepen emotionally. Romantic gestures feel more heartfelt, nurturing, and home-centered. Now let's look at Taurus. You begin July in a very reflective mood. Communications, family ties, and learnings are strong themes for you. The full moon brings a level of spiritual clarity, perhaps around travel, education, or even philosophy of life. The sun in Cancer and then moving to Leo, early July spotlight is going to be on home, engaging in deeper domestic satisfaction or even family matters. You may find yourself drawn to ancestral roots or beautifying your space. Once Leo season begins, you're again visible and warm and outgoing, and that means you're pursuing pleasure-based endeavors. Watch for tech conversation mishaps during the Mercury retrograde time, especially around family or real estate decisions. Watch habits and budgeting and items related to health. Check for specific details. Make sure that you understand those details. And Venus is your ruling planet, so this is blessing your voice and writing at month's end. It's a perfect time for heartfelt conversations. Now that full moon on July 10th triggers career reflections, a sense of compensation around work, maybe some public image or responsibility. Saturn retrograde helps you restructure your daily routines and your health commitments. You may review daily systems, your work ethics, or even long-term disciplines. And Chiron encourages foundational healing, perhaps looking deeper at emotional patterns tied to health or the valuation of your body. Let's jump in and look at Gemini. Gemini, it's a month to anchor your value and use your voice. Cancer season invites you to evaluate your money and your sense of worth and what's draining you, but also what's nourishing you. The early month is about magnetism, and that increases as your home and family life stabilizes. So does your social energy. Now, when we move into Leo season, that increases your charisma. You're more vivacious in communication and visible in social contexts. The full moon brings clarity around contracts, writing, or speaking projects. You might finish something very important and look forward to the future. This time can reveal tensions in education or your belief systems, and it may trigger travel or higher learning opportunities. Now, Mercury retrograde, that's your ruling planet. That stirs reflection on how you are presenting yourself out to the world. Old writing projects, social media patterns, or public speaking fears might resurface. There's an overlying Leo influence that impacts your self-expression. So those that might need some rebranding or are more in the public space and do more public communication, these areas might need some review and some revamping. It's a great time for updating your resume, review your bio, or the things that you put out to the public about who you are or what you do in this life. Venus will bring some warmth into your finances late month. Think soulful abundance, not just money, but time, energy, and certainly love. This time you might also experience some increases in warmth within your sibling relationships, relationships with neighbors, or others that are close to you. These are supportive exchanges. Now, Saturn retrograde, this is useful restructuring, and this is around your belief system and how you plan. Review any teachings, any travel plans, or perhaps your philosophical approach on upcoming events. And Chiron retrograde, well, this is about healing those wounds related to your self-identity or authority figures around you. This energy helps integrate past misunderstandings, helps bringing a deeper understanding and a healing opportunity. Now, Cancer, well, this is your month. This is your solar return month, and you are in the spotlight. Focus on personal growth, your identity, honoring your emotional truths. And then after July 22nd, when the Leo energy comes in, your attention shifts towards finances and self-worth. The sun is in your sign until the 22nd. So this is blessings for you with new beginnings, deep emotional insight. The full moon on the 10th will illuminate your relationships. A truth may arise, a contract may shift or be completed, but this is a time to remain heart open. This may reveal imbalances or bring clarity to partnerships, and those can be either professional or romantic. With Mercury retrograde, this affects your money house. You might experience delay on big purchases or agreements, so reflect on self-worth and perhaps dig deeper into the pricing of what you're looking at. Are you overvaluing your gifts, or maybe what you're purchasing is overvalued? Review your budget, your subscriptions, those places where you might have lost track of outgoing flow of money. And Venus enters your sign on July 31st, and this is expecting emotional beauty, creative renewal, and a magnetism that feels like a warm embrace. Charming energy surrounds you, so this means you have the ability to attract affection, compliments, and opportunities for emotional and creative expression. Now, Saturn retrograde in Pisces, you are revisiting your beliefs, your long-term goals, or even your spiritual philosophies. There may be delays in legal places, academic, or travel matters. And Chiron retrograde, that offers the healing space in your public image or your career narrative, how you describe who you are, what you do. Let go of perfectionism or fear of judgment. And Leo, well, July is a tale of two energies for you. Cancer at the beginning of the month, which is retreat and radiance. Early in the month, you're being called inward. That means rest, reflect, rejuvenate. And then once the sun enters your sign on July 22nd, it's your time to shine. But don't rush, because Mercury retrograde in your sign says, refine before you roar, bringing a powerful time to review your identity and how you are showing up. This is a great time for rebranding, introspection, and self-talk revision. The full moon in Capricorn reveals the need to rebalance your work and wellness routines. Prioritize your health, your rest, those times of joy and laughter and fun, those things that can bring sustainable practices into your life. And Saturn retrograde, you're reworking joint finances, shared responsibilities, or boundaries you might have with others. Emotional and financial entanglements are ripe for reassessment and rework. Chiron retrograde encourages inner healing around self-belief and your future plans. Let go of limiting worldviews. Don't be afraid to look out ahead. Let go of the past. Venus into Cancer at the end of the month brings spiritual sweetness and some emotional closure. This will help with the Chiron retrograde. Private connections deepen. Don't be afraid to go deep and show who you are, that loving being. And Virgo, well, early July favors friendships, community support, and social vision. Later, that moves more into inner reflection, solitude, and healing. That becomes the dominant themes as you leave the month of July. July drives your attention to community and connection. You may be reviewing your role in groups or reflecting on friendships and then shifting or changing that by the end of the month. The full moon lights up creativity and romance. Something may complete or you'll finally express your truth in love or in art. Time to acknowledge joy and love or creative risk-taking. Now, the Saturn retrograde invites a reevaluation of partnership patterns, things that could surface around commitment, concerns, communication gaps, or emotional maturity are all themes that the universe will present to you in order to be reevaluated or healed. Now, Mercury retrograde in Leo, this is about your inner world, and that gets busy. Subconscious messages, old dreams, and hidden memories seem to bubble up. Be mindful of burnout. This is a time when you are processing deeply, not a time to overthink. It's time to reconnect with your dreams. Filter, reassess, reclaim what you want going forward. This is the time that the universe invites you to rest in order for you to have time to process. And Chiron retrograde, that's about healing within. Themes include shared finances or vulnerability. May feel like peeling off old protective emotional layers. Be courageous at this time and don't be afraid to go deep into the layers of vulnerability. And Venus into Cancer at the end of the month brings harmony to friendships and group dynamics. And this is a great time to reconnect with allies and friends and build something beautiful together. And Libra, well, your professional light shines early this month. Career and public life gain attention in early July. You may feel the pull between career and home, especially around the full moon on July 10th. Then Leo season returns your sparkle to areas of friendships, networks, and collective dreams. At this time, you may find you may complete a move, maybe a real estate project, or close on an emotional chapter of your life. Now, Saturn retrograde helps you redesign daily structures or your workflows. It's time to review your health and your work habits. Address any burnout or energy that you have tied up in perfectionism. Learn to say no to those places that you might be overextending yourself. And Mercury retrograde suggests your role in the collective may shift. Watch for old collaborators to return. Past friendships may re-emerge. Check your technology and networking. There might be a little bit of glitching in that area of technology. Chiron retrograde heals wounds around commitment and personal fairness in relationships. Trust your emotional health and your growth in this area. And Venus in Cancer at the end of the month, late in July, Venus, your ruling planet, blesses your public image. Shine with grace. Your diplomacy and kindness lead the way. This energy adds beauty and diplomacy to your public image. And this is great for attracting personal and professional allies or polishing your brand. And Scorpio, well, July's energy calls you to rise and expand. Cancer season urges exploration, spiritual, academic, or literal travel. You begin July feeling philosophical and drawn to wisdom, spiritual insight, and some adventure. And then after the 22nd, as we move into Leo season, your career themes dominate, and that's the time to shine strategically. Now, the full moon on July 10th lights up communication. writing, contracts, or sibling dynamics. And you may complete a writing or study project with this energy. It's about bringing closure to an old mindset or communication loop. The Saturn retrograde, this is about creative commitments. These might be restructured. Parenting themes also rise to the surface for reflection or readjustment. And Mercury retrograde will watch for delays in communication. Be patient with promotions or decision making and revise any public messaging. Again, make sure that you check all details before you leap. And Chiron retrograde, that heals the inner critic around your health or productivity. It's about learning balance and not just discipline. And Venus moving into Cancer July 31st, well, that offers gentle beauty, romance, and harmony in areas of travel, education, or spiritual exploration. Let's look at Sagittarius because this energy this month is deep and transformative. Cancer season asks you to explore intimacy, not just physical, but emotional and financial too. Shared finances, intimacy, or transformation. And later, when Leo season hits, this brings the opportunity for travel, inspiration, and philosophical curiosity. The full moon lights up your self-worth, maybe around money or how you value your contributions. You may reach a budgeting goal or revisit self-esteem patterns. And the Mercury retrograde may bring back old contracts or joint financial issues, so be cautious. It also has the possibility of disrupting travel, education, or publishing. This is a time to review goals, revise manuscripts, or reconnect with teachers. Venus in Cancer helps heal vulnerability, trust, and emotional union. Let others in, but from your centered truth. You'll find this energy pushes you for the desire to deepen your connections and build trust. Now, the Saturn retrograde, this is about reviewing your emotional safety, family legacies, or home structures. Let go of emotional rigidity. This also feeds into the Chiron retrograde because this is a time to heal those family legacies. This is a time to heal any love wounds that you might carry, especially around self-expression or being too much for others. Let's look at Capricorn. This month's partnerships, relationships, and contracts all come into focus. Cancer season is about reflection, softness, and shared space. And after the 22nd, when we move into Leo's season, the energy shifts to deep transformation, intimacy, and emotional truths, shining where your passion truly is. Now, the full moon in your sign is powerful. This moon will ask you, what is your personal truth? What identity shift are you ready to embrace? Celebrate your personal accomplishments and align to perhaps some different successes in the future. Mercury retrograde stirs up shared resources, joint decisions, and intimate disclosures. Move slowly. Be cautious with investments and emotional disclosures this month. Double check any details of information you might be sharing. Venus brings love and compassion into your relationship zone at the end of the month. Let softness guide your strength. This is a great time for harmony, for love, and certainly collaboration. Now, the Saturn retrograde, this is a time that you can revisit communication patterns, particularly with siblings, your writings, or your speaking. Adjust how you express authority. And Chiron retrograde, this energy is around family wounds, especially around authority figures. This is the energy that's coming up for review and for healing. And Aquarius, well, July brings focus to routines and relationships. The early month, while in Cancer season, the energy is about wellness, mindfulness, and rebalancing work-life energy, finding balance and refining all your routines. And then after July 22nd, when we move into Leo season, the focus shifts to love, collaboration, and connection. The full moon on July 10th, this is about spiritual realizations. This surfaces hidden emotions. Dreams may be more vivid. Trust what comes. Trust the universe is shining its light or illuminating on what you need to look at. Let go of guilt, old beliefs, or escapism. And the Saturn retrograde, this is about a time for reviewing financial foundations, your budgeting skills, your self-worth issues. Are you investing in alignment with your values? And Mercury retrograde, this is a time when relationship miscommunications may arise. This might impact partnerships, or you may find that old partners may return or current ones need clarity. Be patient, listen with your heart, practice clarity and compassion. And the Chiron retrograde, this is about healing wounds around expression, finding your voice, being misunderstood, being heard, or early sibling dynamics. And Venus in Cancer at the end of the month, that adds grace and beauty to daily work and self-care routines. You may beautify your workspace or reconnect with more mindful routines. And Pisces, it is a month of art, love, and healing. July starts off lighthearted, romantic, and creatively charged. And then after the 22nd, as we enter Leo season, focus returns to wellness and healing. Cancer season energizes romance, creativity, and pleasure. So let your inner muse awaken. The full moon on July 10th reveals truth about your friendships or larger social purpose. A social chapter may end or could evolve into something different. The Saturn retrograde is in your sign, and that invites you to redefine what responsibility looks like for yourself and for others. You're being asked to step back and reflect on your long-term purpose, reassess maturity, your boundaries, and your identity commitments. Mercury retrograde slows workflow, so build in cushion and compassion. This energy could also create delays or confusion in work communication or health scheduling, so revisit routines and systems that might have become outdated. Pay attention to details. Don't skim over what you think you know. Make sure you know the details. And Chiron retrograde, this is about healing wounds around your value, your sense of worthiness. Reinforce self-esteem and your inner resilience. And Venus in fellow water sign Cancer, the end of July, will infuse love, inspiration, and heart-opening joy. Let yourself receive. This energy is about love. It's about beauty and allowing creativity to flow freely. Love, beauty, creativity. Excellent time for romance, fertility, or artistic endeavors. Now, July 2025 is a month of deep review and realignment with Mercury retrograde in Leo, Saturn and Chiron retrograde, and several shifts in emotional and expressive energies. The invitation is to refine how we think, love, and lead. We often panic around retrograde season, but retrograde is inner work, inner rhythms. And when we take time to understand that inner work and the inner rhythms, when those planets move forward, we are ready to move out into the world with those newfound things that we've learned about ourselves or the adjustments that we've made. Remember that retrogrades are not setbacks. They are sacred pauses. The cosmos is gently inviting us to review what we value, how we love, and what we are becoming. With so many reflective energies in the skies this month, give yourself permission to soften, to listen, and to realign. The fire then of Leo at the end of the month will reignite your passion, but the wisdom of Cancer will guide your heart. I'm Laurie Wondra of Your Life Core, and thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening to Messages from the Universe. For information about Laurie Wondra's current events or to schedule a private session, visit her website, yourlifecore.com. You can also subscribe to her monthly newsletter. Laurie also shares inspirational and informational messages on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening.